One day Siddhartha heard the river mocking him, mocking his longing for his son. He saw his father's lonely face in the water, felt his own longing, and now wished his son would return. He returned to Vasudeva, sharing what he'd seen and heard. Vasudeva said, "You've heard it laugh," he said, "but you haven't heard everything. Let's listen. You'll hear more." They listened. Softly sounded the river, singing in many voices. Siddhartha looked into the water, and images appeared to him in the moving water. His father appeared, lonely, mourning for his son. He himself appeared, lonely, he also being tied with the bondage of yearning to his distant son. His son appeared, lonely as well, the boy, greedily rushing along the burning course of his young wishes, each one heading for his goal, each one obsessed by the goal, each one suffering. The river sang with a voice of suffering. Longingly it sang. Longingly it flowed towards its goal. Lamentingly its voice sang. Siddhartha made an effort to listen better. The image of his father, his own image, the image of his son merged. Kamala's image also appeared and was dispersed, and the image of Govinda and other images, and they merged with each other, turned all into the river, headed all, being the river, for the goal, longing, desiring, suffering, and the river's voice sounded full of yearning, full of burning woe, full of unsatisfiable desire. And when Siddhartha was listening attentively to this river, this song of 1,000 voices, when he neither listened to the suffering nor the laughter, when he did not tie his soul to any particular voice and submerged his self into it, but when he heard them all, perceived the whole, the oneness, then the great song of the 1,000 voices consisted of a single word, which was Om, the perfection. "Do you hear?" Vasudeva's gaze asked again. In this hour, Siddhartha stopped fighting his fate, stopped suffering. On his face flourished the cheerfulness of a knowledge, which is no longer opposed by any will, which knows perfection, which is in agreement with the flow of events, with the current of life, full of sympathy for the pain of others, full of sympathy for the pleasure of others, devoted to the flow, belonging to the oneness. Vasudeva had finally witnessed Siddhartha's enlightenment. He said, "I've been waiting for this hour, my dear. Now that it has come, let me leave. For a long time, I've been waiting for this hour. For a long time, I've been Vasudeva the ferryman. Now it's enough. Farewell, but farewell, river. Farewell, Siddhartha." Siddhartha made a deep bow before him who bid his farewell. "I've known it," he said quietly. "You'll go into the forests." "I'm going into the forests. I'm going into the oneness," spoke Vasudeva with a bright smile. With a bright smile, he left. Siddhartha watched him leaving. Vasudeva entered nirvana. The final chapter of the book is called Govinda. Govinda is about Siddhartha's age, both of them very old men. Govinda followed the Buddha in his practice, but even in his old age, he had not attained enlightenment. He heard about a revered sage by the riverbank, someone enlightened. So he found Siddhartha, hoping he could impart some enlightenment knowledge. But he didn't recognize Siddhartha because Siddhartha was already very old. Quoth Siddhartha, "What should I possibly have to tell you, O venerable one? Perhaps that you're searching far too much, that in all that searching, you don't find the time for finding." "How come?" asked Govinda. "When someone is searching," said Siddhartha, "then it might easily happen that the only thing his eyes still see is that what he searches for, that he is unable to find anything, to let anything enter his mind, because he always thinks of nothing but the object of his search, because he has a goal, because he is obsessed by the goal. Searching means having a goal, but finding means being free, being open, having no goal. You, O venerable one, are perhaps indeed a searcher, because, striving for your goal, there are many things you don't see, which are directly in front of your eyes. In the Diamond Sutra, the Buddha continually emphasizes, nothing can be said. The past mind cannot be grasped, The present mind cannot be grasped. The future mind cannot be grasped. All conditioned things are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows, like dew or a flash of lightning. Contemplate them thus. When we fixate on a pursuit, we become slaves to it. A true enlightened one means an open mind, without a goal. Govinda always wanted Siddhartha to share some wisdom, and Siddhartha told him his realization, a very important theme of the book. Quoth Siddhartha, "Look, my dear Govinda, this is one of my thoughts, which I have found. Wisdom cannot be passed on. Wisdom, which a wise man tries to pass on to someone, always sounds like foolishness." "Are you kidding?" asked Govinda. "I'm not kidding. I'm telling you what I've found. Knowledge can be conveyed, but not wisdom. It says, the opposite of every truth is just as true. That's like this. Any truth can only be expressed and put into words when it is one-sided. Everything is one-sided, which can be thought with thoughts and said with words. It's all one-sided, all just one half. All lacks completeness, roundness, oneness. But the world itself, what exists around us and inside of us, is never one-sided. A person or an act is never entirely samsara or entirely nirvana. A person is never entirely holy or entirely sinful. My friend Govinda, the world is not imperfect or on a slow path towards perfection. No, it is perfect in every moment. All sin already carries the divine forgiveness in itself. All small children already have the old person in themselves. All infants already have death. All dying people, the eternal life. It is not possible for any person to see how far another one has already progressed on his path. In the robber and dice gambler, the Buddha is waiting. In the Brahman, the robber is waiting. In deep meditation, there is the possibility to put time out of existence, to see all life which was, is, and will be, as if it was simultaneous, and there everything is good, everything is perfect. Therefore, I see whatever exists as good. Death is to me like life, sin like holiness, wisdom like foolishness. Everything has to be as it is. Everything only requires my consent, only my willingness, my loving agreement, to be good for me, to do nothing but work for my benefit, to be unable to ever harm me. So, Siddhartha believed that this world is perfect.